Hey, Crystal Maiden here for the next part of Twilight Princess. There's also a glitch called the Invisible Hole Glitch. Link must go to the area in front of Arbiter's grounds before the bubbling camp. Find the small chest on the left and open it, if it's not open already. Jump attack onto the chest, face Link at the low wall on the left, charge a jump strike. If performed correctly, Link will appear to be out of bounds. If Link continues to walk forward through the only rock available, he'll fall back through to his starting point. Wasn't it weird how a Yeti sent us a letter? What was the reaction to that from the postman? Like, suddenly a Yeti walks up to the postman, gives him a letter when Yeti didn't even have hands. How was she able to write the letter, let alone hold it so she could hand it to him? And like, how would she even know about the postman at all? If I'm sure they're so isolated from the rest of the world that they clearly... I mean, I guess they're not isolated. I mean, they have Orden goat cheese and stuff. They have stuff from Orden. I'm not sure how they managed to get stuff from Orden shipped to them. Maybe the Zora know about them. Like, I remember there's dialogue from one of the Zoras that talks about the Yeti. I like this minigame, sort of. I think you should try to aim Midna at the thing you want to target. Now, for the most part, this is pretty fun, although it is very tense trying to avoid hitting the walls with your really large bird sprite model. And like, it's hard to know how close you are to a wall because the camera's behind you. And like this is the big problem. You have to squeeze between this wall really tightly. It's also pretty easy to accidentally hit fruit you don't want to and break your combo. And that means you aren't getting a ridiculous amount of points. It makes sense then that the biggest fruit that are the easiest to hit by accident are the ones that are only worth 1 point. Like, I guess, like, obviously the ones that are hardest to hit are going to be the ones that are the most valuable. I remember this took me so many tries when I played it for the first time. But I was able to get it on 2 tries for this playthrough. Yeah, this is a very creative way of reusing the bird minigame. Like, you'd expect that you'd only be able to go through this place in the Twilight. But instead, they reuse it. It's good that they have 2 parrots. Like, they don't just waste the concept. Is this a parrot, or is this just a bird that... Like, does the parrot talk to a human Link? I don't know if it does. But yeah, like a Yeti gave a letter to the postman, and later we're going to see Uku give a letter to the postman. You know, the weird half chicken, half human thing. How scared was the postman? Like, a lot of times, the dialogue with the postman will indicate that he has a kind of kooky life. Yeah, it's pretty luck-based, this goat minigame. The goats will just go wherever they want. And sometimes it can drag out for too long and you won't be able to... This is bullshit. You say no, you quit out of it, and then you can't do it again until the next day. And you also can't herd them at night. It's not always going to be day. So I essentially got cheated out of it and didn't care enough to bother with trying to do it again. Why does he take his mask off at all if he doesn't want him to ever find out who he is? That's reckless of him. And again, what's the point of him hiding his identity from him? Like, is he ashamed of being in the Freedom Fighters? Does he think Link will worry about him when he's known for being a badass swordsman? Like, it's weird, he has a sword, but he doesn't ever use it when he helps you. He just gives you a golden cuckoo because for some reason the game decided that we weren't allowed to use the wolf to just jump to the Sacred Grove anymore. For no reason. Even though that worked perfectly fine before, and they don't even explain it as, like... They don't try to explain it at all. And again, the sheer fact that you have to go through the entire stupid Lost Woods again is bullshit. Especially since Skull Kid is even harder to find, since now he's going to hide in the trees and stuff. And you'll have to look up for him and shoot him with the bow and arrow, and needless to say, I had to fast forward the Lost Woods as a human because it took so long. Like, pretty much every problem with it for the wolf is present there. There's the constant spawning enemies that just distract you when you're trying to look for Skull Kid. It's hard to figure out where he is. There's no map. It's just utter bullshit. Like, you can hear his trumpet playing if you have the volume up, and I did, but that didn't really help me. You can only hear it when you're in the room that he's in anyways. Well, as much as you can be in the room in an outside area. Just like, this is just the definition of padding. It's like they couldn't really come up with anything padding for the Temple of Time, so they just make you go through this shit again. There's a glitch where you can skip the third fight with King Bublin. On Link's first time going through the Bublin Fortress, go right behind the barrier before the actual camp part and climb it. Go to the edge closest to the wall and target it with the Gale Boomerang. Roll and jump. Link will be on the rock. Continue a bit over the rocks. You may need to use the boomerang jump again. You'll come out to the Arbiter's Grounds entrance with white everywhere, and a boar there because the game just assumes you already beat King Bublin. If you try to climb the stairs, Link will go straight through it. So all you have to do is return to the place Link fought King Bublin to make the stairs solid. Why the hell did they program that measure in? Like, did they know you were going to cheat to get there? Like, did they, at least on my terrible action replay that doesn't really add codes, there's no walk through walls code for this game. There's not even a mega jump code. So that alone made this game not as fun to play as Wind Waker when I was a kid, because it's not like I could just use a mega jump code. Like, I don't know. Like, it's just weird. I guess maybe it's a glitch, the stairs not being solid thing. There's also another glitch I could think of. With the jump strike skill, enter the Kakariko village graveyard and kill all of the enemies bugging you. In the right wall of the graveyard, there's a small rock ledge that's slightly lower than the others. Jump strike onto it. After circling the graveyard on the rocks, jump striking wherever necessary, Link will appear on the edge of the graveyard. There will be empty white space, a background, and the root of one of the two trees. If Link falls into the white void, he'll spawn at the graveyard entrance with one less heart, so be careful. Keep going up to the edge and follow it to the left using jump strike to get up the hill and stand as close to the edge as possible. You're now able to see the area behind the graveyard with the Zower grave. L target and jump attack towards the grave area. You'll land inside of the area on top of a ledge. Walk towards the waterfall without jumping down the ledge and drop down into the waterfall. Now Link will be swimming in the white space right outside the grave area and can explore the invisible water. This glitch can also be done with the boomerang jump. If you equip the iron boots in that water and try to swim back up, Link will fall. So basically you can glitch your way into the area with the Zora's grave before you are able to do it. And there's also the levitating bomb skit glitch. This can only be done if the postman is about to get a letter to you. Go to Kakariko Gorge for the first time, and with Epona, run into one of the bomb skits on the road. The postman will show up and the bomb skit will be levitating. Once he leaves, the bomb skit will hang in the air briefly and then continue running around. I guess because the postman talking to you freezes time. And a more important glitch is skip to boss of City in the Sky. In City in the Sky, there's an area before fighting the boss and after using the boss key on the door. Link can skip that area and go straight to the boss. As a human form of Link, stand next to the first ledge heading towards the boss, get very close to the edge, and change it to a wolf. You'll fall to your death and appear at the door as a wolf. While the cinematic of the wolf Link getting up and getting Midna on his back is going on, you can actually skip that with the -/pause button and he'll appear in front of the boss. You can also stand underwater without iron boots, apparently. Go to Zora's domain with the iron armor, with the Zoar armor equipped, and walk towards the end of Zora's domain near the upper Zora River. You'll find a corner in the wall. Go underwater and find a small hill in this corner. Go atop this hill wearing the iron boots. Take them off at the top and Link will still be standing. You'll be able to do anything you could do above water, including becoming a wolf underwater. But you'll stay underwater regardless. Since this glitch requires having the iron boots anyways, it's pointless to do it. It's not like it makes it unnecessary to have them at all, so it's kind of a troll glitch. Like, it could be really useful, but because it's so situational, it's not. I guess it's better to attack these guys with the wolf and the midnight charge attack, but the thing is, like, because it's so fast, but the thing is, again, then you have shit like this, where you have to find them in the trees. I guess it's good that he makes walls disappear, because that makes it a bit more obvious where he's supposed to go next. But still. There's a really bad glitch called Stuck on the Stairs. After defeating Zant, talk to Midna with Link's back to the corner of the stairs and say you don't want to leave. Link will get stuck walking into the stairs automatically, and you'll need to reset the game. It's like the glitch where you get stuck walking into pots. I can't believe they managed to have like 2 of these in here. He stomps angrily, but he's still smiling. That's lazy. I like to use the bomb arrows against him just for the sheer anger of it, just for the sheer catharsis of it alone. Not to mention the explosion does a good job defeating multiple of these guys at once. The sheer fact that he spawned so many of them over and over again is just padding. One of the biggest problems with this game, aside from the obsession with realism. There's also a glitch called Stuck Under the Bridge. Warp to Warden Spring, ride opponent to the bridge, and swing the Master Sword so it hits the ropes on the bridge while the horse is dashing ahead. Link will end up under the bridge and be able to move, but won't pass it because his head is stuck under the bridge. And dismounting kills you, obviously, because I guess you just fall into the void. Like, that's the thing, void. Why the hell are there so many voids in Hyrule Field? Like there's so many black bottomless pits everywhere? It doesn't make any sense. Ocarina of Time didn't have that. I don't think any other 3D Zelda game had that. Like, when I was a kid, I used to theorize, before the official timeline came out, that the reason there are so many bottomless pits in the Hyrule Field itself, and even Orden, was because that was the remains of the water draining from Wind Waker. Or something like that. But it turns out, no, there's no explanation. Like, I don't know, maybe Hyrule got hit, Hyrule got hit by a bunch of asteroids, and that created a bunch of bottomless pits. It just seems like a very weird, very video gamey landscape design. That there'd be so many bottomless pits. I mean, rivers I can understand, but why are there bottomless pits in the overworld? Like, why are there bottomless pits in the overworld at all? They're not fun. As I mentioned earlier, like I was alluding to earlier, the fact that the postman gets into a lot of weird situations with his dialogue. And what I meant by that is, like, at one point he complains in Zora's domain that, now this letter is made up to a Mr. Zora, so I don't know who that's supposed to be. Why the hell would there be Zora as a last name for Zora? I mean, think about it. That's like having last name for a human be human. Bob Human. It's stupid. Like, and there's also him complaining you might as well let the goats eat a letter as messy as this. It really goes to highlight how primitive the whole concept of written mail and relying on postmen is. Because it makes you wonder how everyone gets their letters at all. When, like, sure, he's very dedicated to running all the way to everyone to give them letters himself. But still. Like, that's another thing, is that he thinks that he calls out Link's name long before he actually sees him. So you wonder why he doesn't turn into a wolf. Like, why doesn't he catch him as a wolf? is he just running around calling his name long before? By the way, I thought it was very unintuitive that you had to strike the Master Sword into its pedestal to get this to happen and get the game to progress. How are you supposed to know that? And again, why the hell hasn't this happened earlier? Oh, right, because we had to go through the Lost Woods again. Why does every dungeon need padding? Why can't we just go straight to it? And again, having bats attack you here is just the definition of cheap. Why can't I just... Like, these bats attack so quickly that it's not like you can just charge up your attack and attack all of them and it's no big deal. This is just as much of a clusterfuck as the Shadow Beast fight in Snow Peak. How did they make the same mistake twice? And it's not like these bats are even native to this area. They just show up specifically because the Shadow Beasts do and they want to be cheap. But yeah, the whole postman thing, it is kind of primitive. It makes sense because it's a medieval society, but it just makes me wonder how everyone's able to get their mail. And like, is he just running through the fields, calling out Link's name for a very long time until finally, like, the instant that he gets mail for somebody and he starts running to them, does he immediately start calling out their name over and over again as he runs over to where he thinks they might be? Like, I gotta feel sorry for him in Link's case because how's he supposed to know where Link is? He's lucky that he runs into him at all. How does he psychically know that Link is going to show up at a specific part of Hyrule Field and calls out to him at exactly the right time from exactly the right place? How does he not constantly miss him? I mean, he misses him in the sense that you need to be in Hyrule Field for him to find you, but still. It's like, how does he predict that Link is going to be at a certain part of Hyrule Field at a certain time so he can run up to you? Like, the whole concept of the postman is a lot weirder than Wind Waker, where you just had Rito birds, bird people, flying to mailboxes. Is somehow less weird than some random human guy just running around acting like a mailman. How is that even possible? Even the non-Malomart area. Like, why is this place all cheery? It doesn't even have an aesthetic change or an intercom with music and stuff. Like, it just feels out of place here. I'm happy for him that he was able to be so successful as a kid. This is a point in the game where you really don't have anything to spend money on anymore. So now I'm going to start paying... I'm going to start giving that bird the money that he deserves.